Hello, and welcome to the George Snow Scholarship Fund application presentation. My name is Leslie Cornwell, and I'm the Vice President of Scholar Services here at George Snow.
My name is Shannon Elwood. I am the Director of Communications and Scholar Services.
And my name is Austin Habits, and I'm the Scholar Coordinator here at George Snow.
So what we're going to do in this presentation is just very quickly and briefly talk a little bit about what we do for our scholars, how this program works. We will be going through parts of the application that we feel we need to provide a little bit further guidance on this. You will know when the application is due. If you have any further questions that aren't covered in the presentation, all of our emails will be on a slide in here, and I suggest you take a screenshot of that, and please feel free to reach out to us at any time. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is our 42nd year, and so we've been around a while and we know what we're doing. There are two things I believe that set us apart from any other scholarship fund and make it incumbent on you to start and submit an application. The first is that once you receive one of our scholarships, you truly become a member of the Snow family. We do for our scholars like we would our own sons and daughters, and everything we do is designed to help our students complete their educational journey in a successful manner for them. The second thing that I believe that helps us stand apart is our Scholar Support Services program, which I'll talk more about in just a little bit. But we feel that these support services are almost as important as the monetary scholarship that you can receive from us. Last year, we awarded 334 students, and the average award last year was over $14,000. Now, I want to talk very briefly about how our money is actually distributed to the students. So let's say you received a scholarship for $14,000. I'm not going to give you $14,000 your freshman year, $14,000 your sophomore year, and on. That's a much bigger scholarship than, unfortunately, we have the budget for. But the way that it works is that we will divide whatever you are awarded over the period of time that you are in school. So if you are a typical 4-year student, then you will get 8, we call them disbursements, 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, for all your 4 years. However, we are very different in that we want to make the scholarship funds work the best way for you. So let's say you were to say, well, I've received a lot of one-time freshman scholarships, so I really don't need to take your funds my freshman year. Well, that's fine. We'll hold them for you. And then the remainder of your years in your program, your disbursements would actually be larger. Or maybe you want to take a disbursement in the summer. There's a lot of different things that we can do. We can use these funds for tuition. And if you have a bill, then the payment is absolutely going to go to your school first. So tuition, if you're living on campus, it can go toward room and board. If you're living off campus, it can go to off-campus housing, books, school supplies. If you want to study abroad and the program is through your school, you can use one of your disbursements for that, because then we would just be writing the check to the school. So we really want to work with you to make sure that you are getting the most from your scholarship funds. Let's talk about eligibility. You must be a high school senior. You must be attending a high school in Palm Beach County, or Blanche Ely, or Pompano Beach High School, or Monarch High School in Broward County. We have one criteria, and that is financial need. Now, I don't know when you're watching this, so maybe at the point that you're watching this, you have been able to do this year's FAFSA application, and we will be talking about that a little bit later, but you do not have to be receiving any federal Pell Grant money. You don't have to be receiving any federal aid in order to qualify for our scholarship. Our office internally determines whether or not you have financial need. It is based on several factors. We don't have a set income limit that your parents can't make above, because we have a couple of donors that don't have that same criteria and they're not concerned with the income level. If that's something that you're concerned about, you can always reach out to us separately and we can talk over whether or not you think that your parents might make too much money. But that's it. We don't have any minimum GPA. We don't even ask for test scores in the application. So you don't need to worry about that. And we encourage all students, no matter what their GPA, to apply for our scholarship. We accept all citizenship statuses if you are undocumented, but you are trying to become a citizen, or you're in the process of applying, or there's some other status that may apply to you. Please reach out to our office so we can talk that through, because we want you to be able to apply if there's any possible way for you to be able to apply. So these are 4-year scholarships. If you're in a 4-year program, you don't have to renew. You're going to do this one application. You will be considered for hundreds of scholarships with this one application. And that's it. You don't ever have to apply again. You can major in anything that you want to major in. You can be undecided, which is a very normal thing for a high school senior to not know what they want to study. And you can go to any school that you want to go to. We don't care if you attend a school out of Florida, in Florida, a public school, a private school. That doesn't matter to us. The program has to be accredited, and that's for your protection. Last year, we awarded a scholarship to someone who is attending the Tulsa School of Welding for 1 year, and then they're done. So it really doesn't matter to us what school you would like to attend. You should definitely be applying. The support services are what I mentioned earlier. These are programs that are free for all of our scholars. We add to this every year. I'm going to go through this very quickly because you guys can read what's on the screen. We have an emergency fund. So if you have a non-recurring expense, maybe your car broke down and you have to use it for school, maybe you need your wisdom teeth out and that's expensive. It's not for tuition. It's not for housing. It's something that is a one-time expense that came up. You can apply for that. We do care packages once a year. I really don't want to go into too much detail about that because your freshman year is the only time that you're surprised by that. So I want to kind of keep that surprise. We have a career development curriculum. Lisa's sole responsibility is getting you to the point where you are desirable to employers, where she can help you get internships, where she can help you secure jobs, so that by the time that you are completing your education, you're set. You are ready to go. You have a job. That is the goal. And Lisa will work with you from the very beginning in her Snow Success program, where you will do modules and you will learn everything from resume writing, anything you would need so that employers are looking at you seriously. When you get the scholarship, we'll ask, do you want a brand new computer or do you want a college supply stipend check? Last year, the check was for $365. It's written directly to you. It's the only time we will write a check directly to you. And prior to you making this decision, you would receive the specs on the computer. The last several years, it's been a very nice HP. We don't do Macs, just so you know. But you'd be able to see that and be able to decide after looking at all of the features, which one you want. We have a free college physical and meningitis vaccine program for those that are living in dorms. You will be required to have a meningitis vaccine. We offer college supply gift bags that you will receive after our mandatory orientation. These are large rolling duffel bags filled with things that you can use next year, whether you are staying at home and going to school or moving away. We have a program called ComPsych, and you and your family members can have free mental health counseling, free financial services, free legal services, and there's this guidance resource program. Every Monday, you're going to get a Monday motivational message emailed to you. Every week, it's a different topic. It is always something that is relevant to your experience in school, no matter where you are in your school. This will apply to you. And the reason that we do it is it's our way every week of just touching base with you and reminding you that you have this community back home that is supporting you. If you receive an interview, then you will have a professional headshot taken. Senior pictures are very expensive. So you will get a link to your photo, do anything with it that you want. They're very nice. We have a scholar closet that is free to our students. We have all genders, clothing, shoes, accessories. We had a student who received an internship last week, and then she came to the scholar closet because she wanted to get some professional clothing. There's professional clothing, casual clothing. Usually, when it gets close to the winter break, we get winter clothes in so that there's sweaters and coats and boots and things like that. We offer master classes. It could be anything from meditation. We've had CPR. We've had medical school Q&A. We've had panels with engineers, on graduate school. So it ranges on all different topics, how to buy a house, or just so that you're familiar with real estate terms. And then we have our own Snow Family networking platform. The feed is like Facebook, which I know none of you high school seniors are on, but it's a great way for you to be able to connect with current scholars and our alumni, because they're on there. The alumni who are interested in being mentors have marked themselves as willing to help. You can do a search by school in case you want to reach out to other students who are attending your school, or by the field. You want to speak to people who are in engineering, and people are very responsive on there. So that's another great resource for you. And there's a lot of information on here. So the QR code that you see, that QR code will take you directly to the application. The application opened up November 1st and it closes February 1st at 11:59 p.m. That is a hard close. So you don't want to wait until the last minute. As you're going to see later in this presentation, there's a whole financial section that you're going to need information from your parent or parents. If you go to them on February 1st at 11 o'clock and say, oh, I need to have all these financial questions answered, they may not have that information and you've just put yourself in jeopardy. So, and it's just a hard close. So when you're applying to colleges and colleges say the deadline is November 1st, the deadline is November 1st, and you can't submit your application on November 2nd. So just keep that in mind and make sure you have plenty of time to do this application. So just pace yourself and make sure you're doing a great job.
Okay, so one moment here as we advance. So going into the application itself, once you sign in, you want to make sure to create an account with an email address that you will check regularly. As well, avoid using any email addresses associated with your school. So for example, palmbeachschools.org. Unfortunately, our emails do not make it to your inbox. They do bounce, and our emails are super important. That's how we're going to let you know if you get an interview or if you get a scholarship. So then from there, if you get a notification, it's time sensitive. You have to accept that interview and make an appointment with us. Or if you get a scholarship, you have to sign an agreement and let us know that you are in fact interested and want the funds. And that's all time sensitive. There's deadlines that we have to meet to confirm that you are interested in our opportunity. If we don't hear from you, we have to move on. So email is crucial here. You can always change your email address if need be. If you find that you accidentally signed up with a Palm Beach Schools email, you can always update it. And then we're going to get into what the application actually has on it. It is divided into 3 parts. What we will ask of you in the application, we will ask for you to write 2 required essays. We will give you tips on those. There will be extracurriculars like work, experience, school activities, volunteer activities, and there will be financial I'm getting ahead of myself. There will be awards and honors that we ask of you, and I'll give you tips on those also. They are not required, but we do encourage you to write as much as possible. For reference letters, those are optional, but just like extracurriculars, if you can provide a reference letter, you should. It does help your chances. And then for the family finances and tax questions, these are just questions based off of your family finances and tax documents, but no documents are required for upload. So you do not have to upload a tax return or anything related to FAFSA. You will have to answer questions, but you do not have to upload any documents related to finances. Okay. First section of the application, we want to know what your goals are for college. So this is where you're going to tell us what colleges are you considering. There are up to 3 fields that you can list for colleges that you're in the running for. If you already know what school you want to go to, or you don't have up to 3 schools you're considering, you don't have to fill all of them in. Don't think of additional schools to write in here. If you need to leave it blank, you can put not applicable or in A to say that you're not considering a 3rd school. For the schools that you do list here, you need to provide us with schools that you are applying to, or have applied to, have been accepted to, or have been waitlisted for. Do not provide us with schools that you have not applied to or been denied from. You want to paint a positive picture of yourself on this application. There is someone who will be reading your application. And while it is normal for students to not get accepted into colleges, they don't need to see that. Unfortunately, it doesn't paint a positive picture for you. So only provide colleges that, again, you have applied to, been accepted to, or waitlisted for. And like Leslie said earlier, all majors are accepted. So down here at the bottom, when we ask about majors, you can list any major you're planning to pursue in college. You can list a double major or add a minor in there. And again, you can be undecided. Extracurriculars. So we're going to ask about school activities. This is any activity inside school that was outside of normal class time. Anything that you can think of, get creative. If you are unsure of what to write here, please let us know. But most likely our answer is going to be to list it as an activity. Anything that you have not done in normal class time that was related to your school is an activity that you should be sharing with us. If you don't have a lot of activities to provide, though, that is perfectly fine. We still want to help you, and you should still be applying for a scholarship. Going into other experiences, work experience, you can provide internships for volunteer and community activities. A lot of you have already done volunteer activities. I'm pretty sure it's required as part of high school. So please, again, get creative and list any volunteer activities you have to share. And then going into awards and honors, this can be anything inside or outside of school. So if you work, it can be Employee of the Month, or if you volunteer, Volunteer of the Month. It can also be certifications. It may be that you have a CPR certification or Photoshop or something related to Microsoft. List that as an award. Nominations count. Even if you didn't receive the award, or if you're in the running and you don't know if you're going to get it, you should still be proud of that, and you should still be sharing it as an award. Same goes for competitions. We have students who participate in math, science competitions, STEM competitions, arts. All of that, no matter where you placed in the competition, should be shared on this application. You should be proud of what you've done so far and should be sharing it with us. So we do have 2 required essays. For the first essay, we are going to ask about your goals. Most likely you have written an essay like this already. If you're applying to college, they want to know what your goals are. And as long as that essay that you already wrote goes along with our prompt, you can reuse it. You can copy and paste essays in our application as long as you wrote them and as long as they answer our prompts. So for the first, we want to know, what do you want to study and why? Where would you like to go to college and why? Or what do you see yourself doing in a career and why? And the more you can tell us about what led you to these choices, the better it'll help you in the application. If you can tell a story of what led to you picking the major you picked, or if there's something that makes you really excited about the career that you want to go into, the more you can talk about that and show enthusiasm and motivation, the better it'll help you. And going into the personal characteristics essay, this is more broad in what we're asking of you. So far, all we know of you is what you've done in high school and what you plan to do in college. But that's not the full picture of you. This is how we get the full picture of you. This is your chance to tell us about challenges that you faced and maybe overcome, accomplishments that you would like to share with us, something special about yourself, something that makes you proud about yourself, or just something about who you identify as a person that you think would be important for the selection committee, for the people reading your application to know. What do you think that they need to know that would help them want to help you? So eligibility questions. You will reach a point in our application where you are being asked a bunch of random yes or no questions. This is here because one application equals hundreds of local scholarships. So when you submit an application to us, you are in the running for hundreds of local scholarships that we provide. And depending on your answers to these questions, it helps us determine what scholarships you qualify for that we offer. So if you answer no to all of these questions, please do not be discouraged. You still qualify for a bunch of scholarships that we offer. We have two types of scholarships. We have what's called unrestricted, where the donors come in and they just want to provide scholarship funds to any student in this region. As long as you have a financial need, they want to help you. So you're in the running for those unrestricted scholarships, no matter how you answer this application. But these yes or no questions are gauging if you qualify for a restricted scholarship. What that means is there are donors behind these scholarships who want to help students behind or pursuing specific majors or students who have specific backgrounds. For the majors, we have a lot of scholarships. We have scholarships for majors in aviation, business, finance, culinary arts, STEM-related majors, healthcare, pharmacy, performing arts, environmental sciences, the list goes on. We also have scholarships for students with specific backgrounds, and these questions can get a little personal, but as long as you're comfortable with answering the questions, and sometimes there might be an additional prompt to go with it, as long as you're comfortable with answering that, it puts you in the running for scholarships. So those can be based off of were you raised in a single parent household? Are you a first gen or will you be a first gen college graduate? And that means that you would be the first person out of your parents or first person in your family that received a bachelor's degree or will receive a bachelor's degree. Other questions, if you are a caregiver for someone who is ill, elderly, or disabled, if you yourself have had a disability, it could be physical, learning disability, mental health, behavioral disability. The list goes on of those questions as well. So again, even if you answer no to these questions, you should still be submitting an application. And reference letters. For reference letters, remember, these are optional. You do not have to upload any letters in order to submit your application. But if you can provide at least one, it would help. You can offer a reference letter from a teacher or someone out in the community, could be a boss you worked for or someone you volunteered with. It can't be friends or family, but it can be anyone that that you've worked for or that has taught you, or maybe a guidance counselor at the school or a high school counselor, I should say. And then for anyone inside the school who is writing a reference letter, it's very common for staff not to be allowed to send the letter directly to you. If that is the case, they can send the letter to us. You have our contact information, and you'll see it again on the screen in a few minutes. You can tell your counselor or your teacher at school to email myself, Leslie, or Austin that reference letter, and we can connect it to your application after the application closes. Key thing here is we need that reference letter before the application deadline or by the deadline of February 1st. But again, it can be emailed to us and we can attach it to your application. You just won't be able to see it. Okay, so now going into Austin's section.
The final part of the application has to deal with financial questions. First and foremost, all financial questions asked of you are confidential. However, you will find that most of these questions will require help from a parent or guardian. It's important to answer what you can and get that parental advice at the same time with answering these questions. You want to make sure to give your parents enough time. So don't wait until the last day to ask your parent. If you're anyone like me that likes to wait till the last minute, do not do that with this part of the application. Answer what you can and enter zero or not applicable for something that doesn't apply. We are going to ask you questions about your parents' and guardians' most recent tax returns, but again, you do not need to upload any tax returns. You also don't need to upload a FAFSA. Again, if you need any help with the financial area of this, you're more than welcome to contact Leslie, Shannon, or I if you have any questions. The second part of the financial section of this application has to do with SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid. This is more of a personal thing based on you, the applicant, and this will also require help from a parent or guardian. Remember, don't get discouraged if you answer zero or not applicable to any of these questions. These help align you with specific restricted scholarships that are offered within the George Snow umbrella. Again, all financial questions are confidential, and you're going to need that parental advice. You want to make sure to space out time in which you ask your parents for these questions. Lastly, the application is accessible on all devices. So if you start on a smartphone, you want to end on a computer, that's perfectly fine. You could save the application and come back to it later at any time. And lastly, you do not need to complete the application all in one day. The most important part, though, is that you want to treat this like a big opportunity and a foundation for your future success. Treat this like you would treat your application to a dream college or university. This is a big chance for you to get a big head start inside that pathway of success for your life. Here is our timeline. So by February 1st, 2024, our application is going to close at 11:59 p.m. Here's where email is so important because as you can see, you will get an email confirmation when you've submitted your application by the deadline. You will also get an email on March 28th whether or not you've been accepted for an interview. The interviews are going to take place on April 29th, followed by an award notification that is also sent to your email. Both the interview notification and the award notification have very specific tasks and a lot of information for you to go through. So you want to make sure that you sign up with an email that you'll check regularly. And when you do so, you want to make sure to stay on top of it. You're going to have a short window to get back to us with responses on each. So time is of the essence, and also be on top of everything that you might need. If you are selected to receive a scholarship with us, there are two required events that you will attend. The orientation is going to take place on June 13th, and that's a great time for us to meet you. You get to be a part of the Snow family finally. You get to be with all your like-minded peers. You get a seminar, you get a great time and great networking opportunities for you as well, followed by our award ceremony. My favorite thing to do is dress up, and probably you'll be able to do that as well. You'll be able to dress to the nines, go to our June 14th, June 15th, whether it's a breakfast or a dinner, you'll be treated, dressed very nice, you'll get to meet your donor, and it's a great opportunity for you to finally feel a part and get ready as a great send-off to go to college. Lastly, this is your moment. You want to seize this opportunity. We want to see your brilliance. We want you to approach this application with determination and enthusiasm. This is your chance to show us your fullest potential. But that only comes true if you believe in yourself. The scholarship application is your canvas for success. You've spent all this time throughout these past 4 years making yourself be this wonderful individual. Now it's time for you to show the world and to show us that you have the capabilities to succeed even farther and further than you've ever put your mind to. Lastly, you want to unleash your dreams. You've got what it takes. You've proved it time and time again, and this is no different. You've got what it takes to broaden your horizons and make it happen. So get started and apply today. But before we do that, here's one last thing that we want to take advantage of. FAFSA officially opens on December 1st. So even though we're not tied to FAFSA, this is very pertinent information. You and your family should create an FSA ID as soon as today. Why? Because you cannot complete a FAFSA without an FSA ID for you and your parents. When one creates an FSA ID, it can take up to 5 to 7 days to authenticate, and then that person, that user, has to invite another user. So if I started one today, I'd have to invite my mother after I authenticate, and then she would have to authenticate before I can get started. Secondly, even though you got a little bit of a head start, you don't have much. Unfortunately, the window has shortened a lot for you to complete these than in past years. So what you want to do right now is to start to gather tax information for both you and your parents. You will need your 2022 tax returns along with other personal financial information for you and your family and any other personal information. FAFSA is super important for you to get aid and scholarship money and grant money beyond the realm of just this application. Again, we are not tied to FAFSA. This is an additional tip to help you. About 1/3 of FAFSA are selected for verification. The status delays access to your financial aid. So let's nip that in the bud, get started today, and that way we can avoid having to submit additional documents later when time's of the essence, you're running out of time. And lastly, we're here to help no matter what. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to Leslie, Shannon, and I with our contact information listed on the screen, or give us a call. Finally, applications are open from today. That's originally from November 1st, but they're open today. They end on February 1st, so get started.